On July 27, 2002, a bright and sunny day filled with anticipation, a family outing at the Sknyliv airfield promised to be a joyous occasion, but it swiftly descended into an unparalleled tragedy. On the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the 14th Air Corps of the Ukrainian Air Force, the crowds got ready for the spectacular grand finale, following an amazing display of daring aerobatics featuring pilots on some of the most magnificent aircraft in the world. In a series of dangerous aerial acrobatics, an 18-ton Soviet-era Sukhoi Su-27 fighter jet would swoop in just above the crowd. However, as seen in a video recorded by spectators and news camera operators, the plane began to roll at a very low altitude and rapidly lost height as it approached a wooded area, with one of the trees being clipped by its wings. Then the jet roared to life, plunging sharply to the ground and straight into a mass of people. As the maneuver was going completely out of control, the disoriented pilot screamed into his radio, quote, "Where are the spectators?" Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, a significant number of military aircraft were abandoned on Ukrainian territory. These assets were then incorporated into the already robust fleet of the Ukrainian Air Force, significantly bolstering their capabilities. By 2002, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reported a total of 507 combat planes and 121 attack helicopters inherited from their former Soviet counterparts. However, it was noted that many of these aircraft are not considered to be combat-ready and are instead utilized for ceremonial purposes or put on display at military-hosted air shows. The star of the show was the esteemed Ukrainian Falcons, Ukraine's premier aerobatic demonstration team with a rich history dating back to 1995. This elite squadron of highly skilled pilots was set to impress audiences with their flawless performances in the iconic Soviet-era aircraft, the Sukhoi Su-27 jet fighter. The Sukhoi Su-27 has remained a popular choice among airshow pilots and aerobatics teams due to its exceptional speed and maneuverability, thanks to its powerful twin-engine configuration. Since its inception in 1985, this aircraft was specifically designed for supreme maneuverability and aerial dominance over American fighters, such as the Grumman F-14 Tomcat and F-15 Eagle. Unlike its U.S. counterparts, the Soviet fighter is capable of flying at an impressive angle attack of 30 degrees and executing advanced aerobatic maneuvers like Pugachev's Cobra, a move where the aircraft rapidly pitches its nose beyond vertical at a remarkable rate of 70 degrees per second before returning smoothly to level flight. Due to its agile features, the Sukhoi Su-27 participated in numerous air shows around the world during the 80s, 90s, and 2000. Ever since the tragic airshow accident at Ramstein U.S. Air Force Base in Germany in 1988, where two Italian military jets collided in midair, the safety protocols for airshows have been significantly heightened. As a result of this devastating incident, airshows around the world have implemented stricter security measures, including a distinct separation between crowds and aircraft during performances. This arrangement places spectators at a designated distance from the aircraft's flight path to minimize potential risks. The minimum distance between the aerobatic display line and the crowd line is determined by the speed of the aircraft. To ensure safety, a minimum space of 328 feet must always be maintained. However, if the plane is flying at speeds exceeding 300 knots, this minimum distance increases to 750 feet. These measures reflect the utmost importance placed on maintaining the safety of both performers and spectators during air shows. To stick to this rule, aerobatic pilots must plan their flying sequence to regain the show line without ever infringing on the separation from the crowd area, and may not fly over the spectator enclosures or the parking lot under any circumstances. During the Sknyliv Air Show in 2002, the pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Vladimir Tolpanin, and his co-pilot Yuri Yegorov were expected to adhere to the established international safety measures. It is unknown why they didn't do so, and as they performed the closing act, their maneuvers blatantly broke every safety requirement. On a gorgeous sunny day in the suburbs of Lviv, large groups of families flocked to see what was expected to be a spectacular event. The majority of the airshow's schedule was completed by 2:52 p.m., and the grand finale was about to begin. Along with other fighters of the same type, a Sukhoi Su-27 UB was getting ready to perform an audacious series of low-altitude maneuvers. A 34-year-old mother of two, Svetlana Boginskaya, decided to leave the show early. Before then, everything turned into a nightmare. As Baranskaya later recalled, quote, "The plane had already flown above us twice, and now it descending upon us with an incredibly loud and unpleasant noise, hovering right above people's heads at a very low altitude. Then suddenly, there was an unusual silence, and the plane began to clumsily tilt to the left. The Sukhoi Su-27 was executing a low-altitude maneuver, but it appeared confused about its location as it veered dangerously close to the crowds." Radio communications revealed the possible pilot's confusion when they approached the maneuver site as he yelled, quote, "Where are the spectators?" along with an expletive. Then his co-pilot responded, "I don't know where they are." It has also been pointed out that the pilots were slow to respond to automatic warnings issued by flight computers. Footage taken that fateful day shows that the aircraft continued to perform low-altitude rolling maneuvers as it showcased a perilous downward trajectory. The plane then rolled upright once again, but it was still descending rapidly. Its left wing then dropped shortly, hitting the top of several nearby trees before the aircraft violently impacted the ground. At this point, the crew ejected the plane. The pilotless fighter glided out of control, directing itself towards a stationary aircraft, and with an alarming force, it collided with the nose of an IL-76 transport aircraft, creating a deafening impact. The clash caused the fighter to ignite in a blazing inferno, which then caused it to spiral wildly in the air, sending shockwaves of panic through the large group of spectators who had been watching the air display. In a desperate bid for safety, the spectators scattered in all directions, frantic to escape the path of the rolling plane as it ruthlessly continued its rampage of destruction before finally stopping. Both pilots survived with minor injuries, but the tragedy resulted in the deaths of 77 spectators, including 28 children. Another 100 were hospitalized with head injuries, burns, and broken bones. Other injuries were less serious and did not require hospitalization. A total of 543 people were injured in the accident. Some witnesses were severely mentally disturbed by what they saw. 2 days after the accident, the Ukrainian prosecutor general stated that the pilots had used an illegal flight path. Still, many analysts suggested that there was more to the story. According to a commercial pilot who was employed at the airbase, the airshow location was changed last minute. As a result, there was a need for urgent reorganization of the crowd separation measures. This unexpected location change posed significant challenges and required prompt action to ensure the safety of both spectators and performers. The pilot stated that initially, the airshow had been planned to take place at the field's opposite end, but due to unforeseen circumstances, it had to be relocated, and such changes often require meticulous planning and preparation to ensure all necessary safety protocols are in place. But, unfortunately, with this last-minute change, there was limited time for such preparations. The pilot also claimed that a second aviator scheduled to fly that day withdrew due to insufficient location preparation. It's unclear how much the last-minute change affected the pilot's perception of the crowd's location. Upon examining the crash footage, an aerobatic pilot noted that although the maneuver appeared to be planned to be performed parallel to the spectators' line, instead, it was performed heading towards them. As the pilots defended themselves, they claimed that the flight map they received did not match the actual airshow layout. The chief pilot also contended that he had requested additional training flights at Sknyliv Airfield so that they could practice on-site. Still, the request was denied as it was deemed too costly. Ukrainian President Leonid Kuchma publicly blamed the military for the disaster and dismissed Air Force Commander General Viktor Strelnikov. Defense Minister Volodymyr Shkichenko offered to resign, but Leonid Kuchma refused. On June 24, 2005, a military court sentenced pilot Volodymyr Toponar and co-pilot Yuri Egorov to 14 and 8 years in prison, respectively. The court found 3 other military personnel guilty of breach of order, negligence, and violation of flight rules. 2 of the 3 officials were sentenced to prison terms of up to 6 years. The third received a maximum 4-year suspension. Toponar was ordered to pay $7.2 million to the bereaved family and $2.5 million to Egorov. The crew's chief flight trainer was acquitted for lack of evidence, but after the verdict was announced, Toponar said he planned to appeal, arguing the crash was caused by technical problems and flaws in the flight plan. Egorov was released in 2008 after President Viktor Yushchenko issued a decree reducing his sentence to 3.5 years. Most of the blame was assigned to the pilots, including accusations of trying to fly inexperienced. Near the end of Toponer's sentence, he reaffirmed his innocence in a phone interview. He said that the flight area parameters given to them significantly exceeded the safety margin of distance from the spectators, that what happened is the responsibility of the organizers. He also said that during the half-barrel he noticed that both engines had reduced thrust and reduced airspeed. However, the cause remains unknown. Thank you for watching. Do you think the military leaders are responsible for this tragedy? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next video. Stay tuned.